Okay, we have a few more scragglers, but we'll start with the intro, Will, if you don't mind, and we'll get going. So I want to thank everybody for taking time out of their day to join us for the next 45 minutes or so. This is something that we do on a quarterly basis to try to provide an update into what's been released over the past quarter, what's kind of coming around the corner. So we're going to walk through some of those features. This is recorded, so we will send out a link to the recording after the event. And that you have access to that. So as we get started, I just want to introduce myself, Pete Pizzatello, work in the marketing team. And I'm joined by one of our great product managers, Will Jonas.
Hey, everyone. Hey, Pete.
Hey, Will. Looking forward to the conversation. Just kind of a preview of what we'll be talking about is kind of the gamut here, anywhere from some of the new stuff of improvements to the mobile app that we released earlier this year. We'll walk back what's going on there, as well as some of the key platform enhancements around managing features, as well as some of the enterprise capabilities to help teams or manage users and teams. And then we'll revisit the automation bundles, which we also released this year, kind of give everybody an update and a refresher on what that is. Stop by and take a look at the product literacy updates, kind of just remind people where resources are to help them. And then a quick review of some of the professional services that we've been rolling out this year as well. Let's get started. So VETRO Mobile, right? This is something that we released this year, Will. And I know you've been working with a lot of our customers on the adoption of this. How's that been going? What are some of the things that you think we should be highlighting today?
Yeah, it's been, really positive. We've been getting a lot of really great feedback. We've got, hundreds of users and lots of customers that have purchased VETRO Mobile. And really just reminding everyone that, what this is, it's really about that field change management, trying to streamline that process, give your organization a better way to manage data coming from your field teams back into your system of record. So what we're showing here is just kind of a visual diagram of our change set interface with the mobile application there in the phone. So yeah, everything that's being done in VETRO Mobile is being tracked and recorded, and that information can be pushed back to your in-office users using VETRO FiberMap. Really allows you to create this change backlog and maintain that system of record. And yeah, it's been going really well. The feedback's been really positive. We're constantly kind of trying to, get with organizations, understand how they work in the field, how their teams are aligned, how their teams currently do things, so we can keep innovating in this space. That's a big focus of ours right now. But VETRO Mobile is out. It's very, very ready for your teams to use. And so, yeah, it's been very well received. We've been really happy with it thus far, and we're going to continue to push it in that space. So I think next slide, Pete. So yeah, just kind of a reminder of where we've kind of taken it. So in the last quarter, we pushed out a lot of splicing improvements. So now you can, easier ways to have spatial recognition when you're trying to splice certain areas. So you have kind of a better modal to get into splicing based on where you are. We've added support for all your VETRO symbology, so you can now show your categorized styling and your symbols, whereas that used to not be available. We've added things like address search, multi-plan support, continuing to evolve the product and make it easier. We're always thinking about, how do we keep this simple? How do we keep it, what VETRO is really known for and what we do well, simple ways to modify and connect these new features, get your red lines into the system. And just a reminder again, this is we have full offline capabilities with this product. So everything that you can do with, internet, you can download a plan to your local device and do that exact same operation with no internet whatsoever. So that's a really big deal for our customers, especially the ones in these rural areas where you have spotty service. We always hear, that becomes difficult using, certain technologies out in the field. So this one works really great with no internet at all. You just simply download your data and you're off to the races. So Again, we'll continue to evolve the product in a few different ways here, but these are just kind of some of the highlights of what we've been working on. And yeah, we'll continue to push that for your field teams and continue to, really make a great product.
Yeah, no, I've heard a lot of feedback from the field, and it's been a great way to kind of join two disparate functions within these groups. So if you want more information, you can reach out to the account manager to get more of a detailed demo on that. We're not going to have time to take a deep dive. We've done that in the past. And also, if you are a current user, a lot of the things that Will's walking through are direct feedback from our customers, right? So if you are using it and there are some things that you would like to see, you can reach out to Will or your account management team to get those on the list. So we have a lot of other stuff on top of the mobile updates, some of the platform capabilities. You want to run us through what we're looking at here?
Yeah, so this is just kind of what we released a couple weeks ago. We had a really big release, really successful release. We've revamped a couple of our core tools in the platform, some things like attribute table. That's, constantly we've been getting feedback from our customers. And so we're trying to, again, empower your organization to make, easier bulk updates, easier ways to manage and control your system of record. So we did want to revamp our attribute table some and give you some of the functionality that you kind of come to expect with the table. Things like sorting, filtering, being able to kind of rearrange the view of that information. So that was released a couple weeks back. In addition to that, we introduced change history, which is a really cool feature that's been really well received. So now for any of your features that are getting updated in your system of record, we're logging that and we're showing you that detail at the feature level. Before you would have to go kind of track that down through the audit logs. So now we're making that information more readily available right at every feature level. So when you are updating, the attribution or even the geometry, that's getting logged. And if someone needs to go back and look at that information, it's available to them. A couple other kind of more advanced features that we released is the audit table and rewind. This is pretty powerful stuff. It's been really well received as well. So audit table is tracking all the changes to your system. It's logging those changes going back, I think, 6 months on that. And then kind of in combination with that, you have the ability to revert some of those changes. So things like a plan delete or a set of feature deletes or even attribute updates or splicing changes. Now with audit table and rewind, you can go back in there, you can see what happened, you can see who made those changes. Even more importantly, you can revert those if someone made, a mistake or someone accidentally deleted something that they weren't supposed to delete or changed something they weren't supposed to change. All that can be modified and reverted with this really simple, clean way using audit table and rewind. So really excited about that. That's another one where customers have been really begging for us to do something in this space. So, we were listening and we picked the right time to do it. And we released that a couple weeks back as well.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. Let's take a little deeper dive.
So I've got a pretty quick video. I'll take kind of the next 10 minutes to kind of talk about, again, some of the attribute table and the feature changes and audit table. So what I'm showing here is I've just got a single plan on. I've got other plans in this instance, but just one is enabled or visible. And so what I'll show is kind of how you can use the attribute table to make changes and search and view information. It works just like it did in the old version. You can toggle that on from the layer, or you can just click the attribute table. But now you can select different layers. You can kind of toggle back and forth between layers directly from the attribute table if you need to. We have two views that will show a table and a map view. One reflects what's being visible on the map, and the table reflects the information across the entire layer. And obviously, you can filter as needed. Couple things that people have asked for that we added here, which I'm showing now, is the ability to kind of reorder your columns. So if you have, specific columns that you want to see in specific order to kind of get that specific view of the data, you can rearrange. You can also hide columns, which is a really nice feature. So if there's excess information or you're, again, trying to have kind of a custom view, you can hide any columns that you want, and you can also just revert that, show all pretty easily. Again, these were features that were commonly requested. In addition to that, we've always had the last edited and created by tags in the attribute table, but you can never do anything with it. You can never sort or filter on. We've changed that now, giving you more flexibility in how you leverage this information. So now you can sort and filter off those as well, which again just gives you more awareness into who's doing what when things were created, edited, and being able to kind of filter out the information you're interested in. So I'm going to switch over to the map. This is the map mode. So this again is showing the visible plans I have selected, and really it's intended to work with this map filter. So you can use this map filter to view specific features based on a criteria or a filter that you select or enter. So here I'm just doing a county where I'm selecting the service location. I'm going to pick the county. I'm going to enter in a value. Now, it's not going to show anything because I don't have county populated. So in this scenario, I'm trying to find, all the service locations that have that county. Obviously, it returns none because it's not populated. And so then what I want to do next is I want to go and update that information, which I'll do next. So here, again, you can select, this was something that you could do in the previous attribute table, but I can do it just for my map view. So I can select the county, I can set that value, and I can apply that and update all those features. So nothing really new there, except that I can do it specifically kind of, on the table or the map, depending on my needs. But what I'll show next, and I'll let it kind of catch up to me talking while I take a breath. But you can do these advanced filters too. So now with the table view, you have the ability to build out even more logical filtering based on certain criteria using and or statements. So again, if I'm interested in a smaller subset of data, I can now look where the address contains Main, for instance. I want to see all the addresses that have Main Street, and I also want to see everything that has that county that I just set. And that's an and statement, but you can also switch it to an or if you're interested in kind of having different logic, which I'm showing there. So again, just more robust filtering that we added here, giving you a little bit more power to ask, a little more complex questions about your data in this table mode. And kind of last here, what I'm going to show is that you can delete directly from this. So again, I'm doing a tape or a map filter here where you can see the specific visible features that have that main in the address, and then I can delete them straight from the table. So again, this was one that a lot of customers have asked for previously. To delete, you had to do it through the kind of lasso tool directly on the map, which made it difficult to get the features you certainly wanted. Now you can do that with logic and delete them right there, which is a really powerful tool. And then what I'm going to show next kind of is the feature history. You can see I still have that filter on the back, which is why none of the service locations were showing in the bottom. So I removed that and they all came back. Again, just kind of highlighting how you can leverage the map filter with the attribute table. All right, so here I'm showing feature history, really cool tool. You can see I changed the county quite a bit in kind of my prep for this. But here I moved the feature and I'm updating some more information. So I'm gonna fill out the address information. Just trying to highlight how the feature history works, how it's tracking these changes in real time as people are updating your system of record, giving you more visibility into what's changing, who's changing, things and when. So now when I click that back, it shows me that the geometry was updated. It shows me that those attributes were updated by myself. It's got a timestamp. And so you can imagine as you're starting to modify all this data, you really have a lot more control and visibility into who's doing what. And if there's any questions about, why things change, you can easily, find those people and get answers to your questions. All right, so that's kind of feature history. I think last, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go show the new audit table. So the audit table can be found in your dashboard for those who have access to it. So when you click this, it will populate all the changes that are happening. You can sort based on, date, time, user, even operation type, which is shown there on the left side. You can inspect some of these. So some of these track like a little bit more detail than others. So you do have the ability on the right side to inspect certain operations. So like you can see my update and my delete features there. If you go inspect that, it will show you exactly what changed when I modified that information. And delete, it will show you those features that I deleted because from that main filter. And even the coolest part about this is I didn't want to delete those, so I did that incorrectly in this scenario, right? And so I'm gonna go rewind those deletes. So I can actually revert this really quickly. Again, just protecting your data integrity and your system of record. You can see I can see that rewind now. I can see the history of my rewinds, and I could even rewind my rewind if I wanted to re-delete them. And you can see a little icon on that operation type to show what's been rewound. So kind of last thing, I'll just go back, pull back up that attribute table, or add that filter again, and you'll see that those features are now back after I've deleted them, which is really cool. So I'm just gonna do that quick filter again. And if I scroll down to the bottom there, you can see those service locations are back. They've been recreated. They're in that filter, so everything with the main is showing there. And if I just go back to the attribute table, which is kind of the last thing I'm going to show here, you can see that those addresses have been recreated back in your system of record. And I think that's pretty much it for me, Pete. I think that should wrap this up. Not mistaken. But yeah, just again, wanted to just kind of highlight these features that we've created. Again, a lot of this is about, improving your data control, improving, I'm not sure what's showing there.
It's not letting me skip to the next slide. Sorry, I have to get out. Okay, well, thank you for that. I'll let you catch your breath. It's clear that we're working on a lot of things that are helping our customers as they scale, both as their network scale, but also across the organization, having more stakeholders interacting with the system of record from different systems and different departments. So it's good to see. So we may want to explain user groups, how we're thinking about managing users and different departments, and also the timing on this capability.
Yeah. So this is something that we're working on today, this concept of user groups. So again, kind of the same theme, giving you better control of your organization across the system. We're going to introduce this concept of user groups to help you better track and manage your teams. So coming soon will be the ability to create teams and user groups, group people with similar permissions, group people with similar operations, depending on how you work. So you'll be able to group, either based off your layer, your plan permissions, have better visibility into who has what access to what is another big driver of this. and just giving you better ways to manage kind of across your entire organization. This really reduces the need to kind of manage each user's permissions individually, which we know can be a pain, especially for large organizations. So that's the driver behind this. Just giving your admins an easier way to create these groups, manage everyone's permissions across your teams, and have better visibility in who can do what, and then obviously easier ways to manage that and change that is a big bonus as well. So really excited about this. This is going to be a really cool feature that I think our larger organizations are really going to appreciate, just making it easier to manage those teams with your system of record.
Yep. So that's upcoming. I know there's a lot in the hopper. I think there's something else that we wanted to feature that's coming around the corner as well.
Yeah, I'm going to show a little video. So this is our new Quick Splice tool. This should be released very soon, but really just gives you the ability to splice by range as opposed to having to select and drag in the splicing modal. So again, trying to make it easier for you guys to create these splicing connections. So here, what I'm showing is that I'm picking 3 buffers, 1 to 36 on the left side and 37 to 72 on the right. And by just simply entering in the range of those strands, I can hit connect and I can resplice that. Maybe show it again, Pete, while I'm talking, if it will let you. But there's also, so that's kind of multi-splice mode, which you can see at the bottom is toggled on. There's also single splice mode if you just want to do one-to-one. That's probably just not as, it's just as fast as just dragging. But for these large ranges of strands and working with larger cables, I think the users will find the Quick Splice tool to be really helpful with kind of quickly splicing those different buffers or ranges depending on what you enter in. You are able to override as well. And if you do have things like stored fiber paths or circuits, it will warn you if you're trying to, connect something or override a connection, and, just how you would. And with the normal slicing, you can go modify that if needed. But yeah, really cool tool. Again, this one's going to be released real soon. So be on the lookouts for, user flow notifications on this, and excited to get this in the hands of our users.
Yeah, no, thanks for taking or walking us through the upcoming stuff. I know there's some other things that we're doing on some of the capabilities that we've released early this year, like around the automations. And I do want to spend a little bit of time walking through that. But before we do that, maybe just help us frame out how we think about automations and what the value is to the folks online.
Yeah, so automations has been a really big focus of ours, really, this year. And so what we're really after here is trying to standardize the way that we interact with these partners or these outside systems. So, we understand that a lot of our customers have, their OSS, BSS, they may use a construction management tool or a design partner. And so what we're trying to do here is make it simpler to integrate, having more of a kind of out-of-the-box integration where we set the standards, we set the fields and the data flow, and we model that, and we say, okay, partners, this is how this is going to work. We're the system of record. And then to make it even easier, we've created kind of packaged API calls and packaged methods to say, hey, here's how you connect to our system. In the past, it was always they had to kind of understand our APIs, and that could be a challenge, and it could lead to, longer implementation times and cost and all this. So we wanted to take a more kind of lead role here, and we wanted to create these pre-packaged automations to say that are really agnostic to whoever your partner or your other vendors are. That's kind of the key here, is that it really doesn't matter who else you use. If they're a partner and they're willing to work with us, then they can leverage this, and it's more of a plug and play, which has been really nice, and that's going to kind of keep evolving and where we're focused on. So it's really about optimizing and making it a much easier implementation, which just leads to faster time to revenue, all these things, because you're not having to kind of piecemeal all these different systems together with really custom and one-off integrations. That's the goal with our automation strategy.
Yeah, maybe just make it a little bit more tangible. Let's take an example of how we would interoperate with a construction management system.
Yeah, so with the construction automation workflow, so we've kind of identified kind of the key pieces of information that would need to flow to that construction management system. So things like being able to, pull in the features of a design or the features of a plan. Uh, and then, once that information's in their system, obviously it gets changed. Things get as built, statuses change, and red lines happen. So then being able to kind of pull that information or have that information sent back to us to keep our system up to date is also critical. We don't really view a one-way integration as like a really valuable thing for our customers. We need to get that kind of two-way data flow going. And then also, obviously the splicing details that live in VETRO are critical even for other systems. So making that information more easily available and digestible through things like widgets, leveraging webhooks, some of these concepts that we've been talking about for a while now, those are real and those are being leveraged in these automation bundles, which just make them more powerful and more automated for you as the customer. So, we're continuing to evolve here. We're continuing to partner and work with others on kind of identifying and creating these ideal workflows with these kind of dedicated objects that again make it more plug and play no matter who your CMS is.
Yeah, we don't need to walk through in detail with the BSS OSS. It's the same kind of principle, right? I mean, there's a system of record that is really your core asset. There are other systems and stakeholders that need to consume information. And prior to now, it's been kind of a free for all. And so what you're saying, kind of what we've deployed is helping, standardizing the data model, right? And also standardizing the consumption of that data across multiple systems, which should do a couple of things. One, do a better job of protecting your system of records integrity, right? You and I did a webinar on the importance of the system of record, and one of the major bleeding into the system of record was data coming in from other sources, other stakeholders that was corrupting it, whether it was intentional, not intentional, but, it's just non-standard formats that end up impacting the system of record, but also unapproved changes, right? So we've added change management, we're adding standardization on how that information is being disseminated, all with the context of helping get as much information out to the right people at the right time while preserving the system of record. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you nailed it. And another thing to kind of double down on here that I didn't mention is the change interface. The same change interface that people have seen and really love with mobile, we're leveraging that same technology with these outside systems. And so it's not just like, we're getting flooded with events and all the time and you don't know what's happening. We have the ability to kind of log that and show that history again of here's what came back from this other system. And, it doesn't mean everyone has to put eyes on everything. We can auto approve these things. So, but it still gets logged and it still gets tracked and you still have a lot of insight into what's changing in your system of record, even from outside systems. So the change set piece is really critical to the success of these automation workflows as well.
Yeah, and I have the opportunity to work with a lot of our software partners that we interface with, and my recommendation for everybody on the line is sit down with your account management team and get a deeper dive into what the automation bundles look like, how they're packaged up, how you get your head around that. But then also help us get the software partners that you want to include in a joint conversation, right? Because right now it's kind of well-intended, but uncoordinated. If we can get that kind of coordination, then we're happy to sit down and have those conversations with you and the software partner, but it needs to be around kind of the pain that you see in the vision that you've seen that. So we're working towards a common goal, right? So that's kind of an open invitation. If you want to have more of those conversations, just let us know. So, well, it was a lot, right? I mean, so I appreciate unpacking all that stuff. We're not this kind of one and done. We have some help if people want to learn more.
Yeah, exactly. We're constantly updating our help center. We have a great Platlet team that does a lot of work and is constantly kind of keeping this information up to date. We recently introduced this tips and best practices section. So definitely go check that out. You'll see right at the top, there's some information on the integrations with CMS and BSS OSS that we just discussed, as well as some other really helpful information. So yeah, that's something that we're constantly working on and constantly keeping up to date. So we always like to remind everyone that is a really great resource for you if you have questions, or if you're trying to find answers. Obviously everyone loves our support team. They're great. You can always reach out to them, but definitely keep checking out the VETRO Help Center, because we're constantly adding more information, videos, tips and tricks, best practices. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, and every time I go to an event, I run into some of our customers. They have a lot of great ideas, very creative people, and I do think if you do have a perspective on what can make this platform literacy platform, overuse the word platform there, more valuable, let us know, right? I mean, we have a great team and can add some stuff, but we want to make sure that you guys are getting the most out of it. Thanks, Will. I'm gonna switch gears. I know there's a lot here to unpack, but you are not alone. I want to introduce our Vice President of Customer Success, Chad Kosterman. Chad, you've just seen all the great stuff that's rolling out, plus all the other things that we've rolled out this year. Tell us a little bit about how we can work with your team to improve the adoption and understanding of some of these capabilities.
Yeah, great question, Pete. I mean, it's it's where we started initially, and you look at this value pyramid here. Like, in terms of initially engaging with customers in the very beginning, we've always been there around onboarding and implementation and services to bring that data in and do that data ingestion. Our customers, of course, have been evolving, and we want to make sure we're meeting those needs. So there's new packages that we're providing to our customers, and the first one I think I'd highlight is Jumpstart. And the Jumpstart's important because this is helping those customers get up that time to value curve quicker. Really embeds us within their organization around reinforcing best practices, schema design, coaching, workflow modeling, and making sure that you're moving up that curve as quickly as possible. Of course, we go through kind of standard onboarding with our customers, but we're finding that many customers are looking just for a little bit more and for us to be more embedded within their organization. This is also useful as well for existing customers if there's M&A work or if you're stuck, for us to get engaged and to really help get you unstuck. Maybe correct inefficient processes or workflow design. There's also technical account managers too. And this is really kind of looking at your staff as an extension of the VETRO staff into your team. This is really positioned around customers that have deep and strategic dependencies on VETRO and on our system of record. So making sure that we're embedded within your organization and just really making sure as we're partnering with our customers that you're getting the care and the feeding and the help that you need, and they're bringing all the right resources to the table. What I also highlight too is there's training refreshers there too. And I really want to make sure people don't forget about that, because your workforce is churning, it's changing, it's evolving. We have packages there to make sure that we're helping bring individuals kind of back online and getting you those refreshers needed. Some of it just may be getting stale. In other cases, there's new folks that are coming online. And just a reminder too, this training is in your environment. It's not canned. There's engaging Q&A work. There's just a lot of value there. So if there's interest, of course, reach out to your account manager, have those conversations. Just a lot of great content and just engagement with our team. And I'll also state too, we talked a little bit about support. Our support team are the folks that provide that training. And that's important because it's individuals that are kind of deep in the stack, working issues, working with customers on a daily basis. So just a huge amount of value we're providing to our customers. It will hit on as well automation bundle programs. And this is really, as you're taking that next step and working with these partners, we want to make sure that you're prepared. And in many cases, and hopefully in all cases, there's sandboxes that are being implemented that we provide as part of these automation bundles. So this is where I'm working with you to make sure we're doing all the proper techniques, we're validating you have clean data, and making sure that as you're going into production with that automation, that you're ready to go. And it's going to be a successful launch into production. So there to make sure that we're helping you along the way and that'll be successful. And last is what I'd highlight too is, we're still here in terms of your classic data ingestion. If there's more information you want to be bringing into your environment, it's more data, whether it's geospatial, it's splicing data, we're here. Our team is expanding and it's growing, and we're here to help. So what I would say, if there's anything here that sounds interesting or you want to hear more, please reach out to the sales team, your account manager. and we'd be happy to engage you to walk you through some of these options. And looking forward to working with you.
Yeah, that's great, Chad. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Couple questions. These are actually for Will. Just came in about some of the features that we walked through. So first question is on the attribute table, the advanced filter. Can you only filter on active plans, or can you also filter on archive plans?
Yeah, with the advanced filter, we did make that only for active. You can use the map filter to filter if you have the archive plans visible. This would be one where I'd be interested in learning more. So I'd say reach out to your customer success manager or support. We might need to understand better about how you're leveraging archive plans. But you are able to, if you make those visible using the map filter and the map table mode, you're able to see that information.
Okay, thank you. This one also came in about the multi-splice mode that you showed. Is that available in VETRO Mobile, or is it solely on the platform?
If by multi-splice you mean the quick splice tool that I just showed, no, that's just with the web version. But with mobile, you do have the ability to kind of do quick splicing just by quickly tapping back and forth. So if you haven't seen that, maybe reach out again to support. They could retrain you on that. But yeah, you do have the ability to do some quick splicing. It's a little different, obviously, because it's on a tablet, but not the quick splice by range that I showed earlier. That is only available in web.
Great. I think that's it. If there's any more questions, feel free to throw them in the chat, and we'll answer them later. Also, reach out to any VETRO team member. We are going to be. This is kind of where we're going to be in the next quarter or so. If we're overseas, then we'll be there. If not, this week we'll be in at the Regional Fiber Connect in New Mexico, and then in Fort Lauderdale in February. So don't forget your sunscreen. Chad, thanks for your time and unpacking all that for us. Will, appreciate it. I know there's a lot going on back there, so I'll let you go back and keep the innovation machine running. And thank you for your help. And everybody else, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate taking your time. It means a lot to us that you guys are willing to do that. We will make this. You'll get an email when this recording is available, and we do invite you to reach out if there's more questions that you have. Thanks again.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks, everyone.